She exists in countries around the world. In our research, we found her in Brazil, Colombia, Canada, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Germany, Hungary, Ireland, Japan, Malta, Malaysia, the Netherlands, Indonesia, the Philippines, Russia, Serbia, Switzerland, Thailand, the UK, the US, Singapore, and more. Always, she is associated with some tragedy, an accidental death, a murder, or a suicide. And her life is tied tightly to the theme of loss, some betrayal by husband or fiancé, or possibly unrequited love, or the loss of a child. And very often in these stories, she is a being of vengeance, a portent of coming doom, a dark and malicious being to be feared. Who is this female spirit? What does she want? Join us for this episode of The Wandering Crow as we discuss the woman in white and her various similar incarnations around the world.
There is a medicine story that tells of Crow's fascination with her own shadow. She kept looking at it, pecking at it until her shadow woke up and became alive. Then Crow's shadow ate her. Crow is dead Crow now. Join us as we attempt to look through the wandering crow's eye to find the gateway to the supernatural, to seek to know the unknowable mysteries of creation. Welcome to the Wandering Crow Podcast.
All right.
Hey.
Welcome back, murderers.
Hey, murderers. So exciting to be here with you today. Kind of pulled a little bit of an all-nighter to get this one done. It's been tight. Cameron, you were saying stuff's been a little bit tight for you too, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah, money's been tight.
Yeah.
I somehow blew through $400 without knowing. And so
Oops.
I had to do Instacart for gas money.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't do any editing.
Oh, well, you know. I barely have done any as well. So we're good, though. We've got time. We're good. All right, so.
I get paid today. Hooray.
Hooray. We're going to be all right.
Now, Mandy, you had mentioned something that I thought was actually kind of pertinent to what we used to do as disclaimers.
Oh.
This guy that did these shorts on that you watch.
The Latinos Against Spooky Shit. I love him.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Talk about him a little bit, like what you...
This guy, okay.
What you kind of learned from this guy.
He's amazing. So he's hilarious. I found him on Instagram, and he just reminds me of... He reminds me of a few of my closest friends when I was in the military. Like, he's hilarious. He will have some kind of real world clip of something really scary that's going down. And usually it's pretty spooky. And he'll play a moment of the clip, and then he'll stop it, and then he'll come in, and he'll kind of use like this really fun, like Spanglish kind of mix of Spanish English. It's really great. So he'll go, "Hola, buenos tardes, hello. As the representative of Latinos Against Spooky Shit, let me tell you what you did wrong there." And he'll go through.
I think that's a great approach.
He'll say things like, first of all, any self-respecting Latino would never have gone outside in the first place. That was bad. That was a bad situation you were in. Second of all, and then he kind of goes in and he talks about like what if his tias and tios would tell him, and like how he'd get smacked with the chancla, which is shoe. And he, like if I had ever considered doing crap like that. So again, this is
the universal you idiot move.
Yeah, and usually,
Ooh.
to be perfectly honest, it's white people shit. Like he's calling out white people shit.
I'll be honest, I'd do it. So yeah.
Oh, that guy's the best. Well, I think, and before we talked, you said something about, well, that's the difference of the culture, right? And I really liked the point that you made.
Oh yeah, no. So so for one, I like the way they present it. It's a little bit more classically Gothic, and then you asked me what I meant by that. Is they venerate it. It's respected.
Right.
There is a fear, but more so it is like they respect these forces. So they don't go out there and try to play games like oh, this is so fun, it's something real to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's something powerful. It's something that, it enriches their life, but you can't just treat it like a game.
Right. It's very real. The stakes are real. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, I hate to say this, but at least
it's up north. Up north, we don't see it as, it's like we're trying to prove that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes like a game
it is
to
a game.
us.
You're right. You're right. It's a difference in the culture, and I actually really respect and appreciate that to South Americans, Latinas, and really I feel like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it seems like white people.
It's like we were saying, it just seems like it happens more in that region of the world. And so they have more of a respect for it, where it doesn't happen so much here. So it is a novelty here.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It does happen here though, but people.
Yeah, well, you're crazy and it's not considered real. It's not credible.
Or it's like a demon and it's the Christian church needs to come in and exorcise you. Like, I don't know. I feel like the
and
culture.
they've lost ground up here recently. So that's, whereas Christianity in South America, even with their supernatural stuff that's going on, Christianity, the religion doesn't play a role in whether or not it's real.
Well, yeah, and maybe it has something also to do with, yeah, I agree with that. But I also wonder, I feel like there is still a really strong cultural connection to the witches, the brujas, the brujeria, tradition, and they don't necessarily use the word shaman, but they actually have indigenous wise people and medicine people still who are practicing all of that. And it's passed down in families, and all of this knowledge exists and it hasn't been lost.
I researched this.
Maybe that's different. You did? Are you so proud of yourself because you did the research on this?
I did. So Spanish word for male practitioner is brujo.
Yeah.
So bruja and brujo.
Yeah. Bruja is the woman. Brujo is the man.
Because I was called this
Oh, you were?
by one of my, when I worked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There was this lady, Rosa. She was straight from Mexico, barely spoke any English. And I told her that I was into witchcraft and I was a Wicca before I knew exactly which deity I actually worshipped, because I only had a dream. She's like, oh, so you're brujo. And she tried to get me to cast a spell on her ex.
Oh, no. She wanted you to do a curse.
Yeah, it's essentially their version of the wizard or warlock. But it's those videos that you see on YouTube of people flying around in the sky.
Yeah.
Which we largely regard as fake. That's the other thing, too, is there's less skepticism down south.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the richness of it. I really like the acceptance. And you're right. And the respect level is different. And I think that's probably, it's a joke, and the Latinos Against Spooky Shit, it's like a really funny joke. But the reality is that if you look at it deeper, it's the difference of respect. And I just feel like
we bolster holidays that celebrate drinking more.
Yeah.
They bolster holidays that venerate their history
And the dead.
their culture,
Their ancestors.
and the dead.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Well, okay.
We celebrate Cinco de Mayo. They don't do that. We celebrate
That's true.
St. Patrick's Day. The Irish didn't do that.
That's true. Do the Irish do it now? I don't even actually know.
They've started to
Oh.
because of us.
Because we are having such fun with it.
Yeah. Like, hey, that's a good idea.
Let's drink.
Some of their relatives in the States were celebrating their Irish heritage, and so they're like, we should do that.
That's funny. Well, all right. Well, let's getting into it. Kind of a nice transition. So we're talking about Latinos. A lot of the stories that I have are based in South America. Now I have stories. I've got one from the Czech Republic. I've got one from Malaysia. And I know for a fact that there are these things. I've heard stories in India. I know that they're around in Asia. I know the Japanese have them. I didn't do those stories because I ran out of time and I already had 11 pages of notes, and I said, you know what? I think this is okay for now. I think this is a topic we could definitely revisit. But
I would be absolutely game. This is a fun topic.
It's so rich. There's so much, and it just never ended. And the more that I was digging, the more that I found. Like, I found this legend.
I feel like this traces back to the classical witch stories.
Oh, it's so good. Yes, I could see that. Definitely. But I also...
that was a passing thought. That wasn't actually what I was talking about before we started recording.
Oh.
No, I think that there is a cultural dependence on the woman in white as a cautionary tale.
Oh.
It is a way to keep people from taking for granted other people, specifically women.
It's interesting you should say that.
So, like, there's all these cautionary tales about male demons. Most demons are male. But for the woman in white, for the Bruja, for the Baba Yaga, there's all these specific, more powerful things that resonate with, like, they interact with humans more. I think that's more of a cautionary tale of, you know, respect the people around you, respect women. If you have something good, don't throw it away. The La Llorona, most of the stories involved the husband cheating.
Yes.
And then the woman went crazy.
You know, what's interesting is, it's so interesting you say that, because at least in one specific example, they talk about how it was used as a cautionary tale to make men behave.
Yeah.
Like, specifically, it was not to, like, make women behave. It was because the object of the wrath, the person who was most at risk, was the man. She was there to get men who were misbehaving, and so it was used as kind of like this, well, you need to behave right, you know? Stop drinking so much. Don't sleep around.
Yes.
So, yeah. I would agree.
And La Llorona, they tell kids all the time because they don't want them to drown.
Right.
That's one of the things that I've heard, is that it's a cautionary tale to keep kids away from rivers, unsupervised.
Well...
But I feel like a lot of these are to keep men from being absolute dipshit idiots, you know?
Could be. So I do think that the water, at least, I think there's twofold issues there. I think that at the water's edge, that liminal place that's not quite land and not quite water, that's a little bit of both, is a sort of doorway or energetic portal that makes it easier for some of these spirits to appear and to be. So, yes, it's a cautionary tale to keep kids away from the water. Also, I think that it's just easier for spirits to be there.
Well, yeah, I'm not disregarding. I'm just saying that they tell their kids this as a way to keep them from drowning.
Oh, I see. Not that they exist there because of...
Not that they don't exist there.
Right, got it. Okay, I gotcha. Well, we've got quite a few, and like I said, most of these are from South America, and I was just in heaven learning all of these new spirits I'd never heard of before. And I say new, I mean new to me. They are not new. In fact, some of these stories go back way beyond colonization. And I found that extremely interesting too. So even though we have women in white all over the world, it would be easy to assume that colonizers brought this story with them to the New World. And that's where women in white stories come from. But no, she existed here before then, independently of the mixing
before
of cultures.
The Spanish?
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
That is kind of amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got La Patasola. I've got Women in White. I have La Sayona. There's also basically, that just means woman in white. And then I have Matlacihua. And I've got some really interesting recent stories about her. I've got the Pontianak from Malaysia, and I might be pronouncing that wrong, the Pontianak.
I think that just means the horsewoman.
No, La Pontianak is, she's another lady in white from Malaysia. and also in
Really?
India.
Because the Pontiac is... I kind of feel like that's very reminiscent of some words for horse.
Maybe it's an Asian. I can't speak to the linguistics of the word. La Tunda, La Miramonda, the deer woman, who is also extremely interesting. I would like to learn more about her. And then finally, we finish with the horse-faced woman, and she goes by La Siwanaba. And Cameron, you had a personal incident with her, which is what caused me to look it up, and I was shocked and filled with wonder when I found an actual entity to match your experience. I thought that was so exciting, and I've got a couple of real-life encounters with her as well, in addition to yours. So let's get into it. My first spirit that I looked into is La Patasola. And La Patasola, I believe, is from Colombia. She's definitely, for sure, South American. Her one most notable feature, and is in fact what she's named for, is the fact that she has just one leg. She only has one leg, and that one leg, it ends in a cloven hoof, basically. So she has one leg, and that foot is not really a foot, it's a hoof, and she kind of moves in like this hopping fashion. Even though she's only got one leg, she's really, really crazy fast, and she's actually really good at hiding it until the very last minute. What I kind of just want to do a brief little segue. This creature, this La Patasola, this one-legged creature is so interesting because I actually started to find more of them. And I was like, well, that's really weird. So then I looked up one-legged creatures, and I found they're called monopods. I found them in Greek mythology. I found them in Indian mythology. I found them in a few different places around the world, and I had no idea such a creature had mythos. I had no idea such a creature existed in folklore. And it was really, really fascinating to find it here in the New World, in India and Greece. And I'm wondering if I did deeper research, if I would find more of those. But I digress. I just thought that was really interesting. And it's a funny little, what an interesting little creature. Not little, but interesting creature we've got there. Anyway, La Patasola, she can shapeshift. She can change her appearances. She usually will be a very beautiful woman who lures men to their death. Very siren-like, right? This one has feline-type fangs in which she can suck the blood from her victims. So also very vampire-like behavior. She is believed that she can also transform into other animals, sometimes materializing as a large black dog or cow. So where does she live? Unlike our beautiful water sirens, La Patasola, she actually tends to hang out in mountain ranges, virgin forests, places that are heavily wooded or jungle-like. So in some ways, she's kind of got like this naiad type or dryad type energy. She's at the edge of these places, and usually at night is when she's luring male hunters, loggers, miners, millers, and animal herders away. It's said that she also can interfere with their daily activities. She can block shortcuts through the jungle. She disorients people. She can throw hunting dogs off the scent. She's just a menace. And she's also kind of considered, not only is she like this malevolent toward men spirit, she's also a protective nature spirit. And she's not just protective of like nature and the trees, but also the forest animals. And it's said that she's extremely unforgiving when humans enter that domain to alter, destroy, or harm them. So as I was going down the rabbit hole of La Patasola, I started to see all of these other related entities. And as I was looking at these related entities, all of them from South America, many, many, many times they were described as beautiful women all in white. And immediately I thought, wait a minute, I know this one. That's the woman in white. Let's take a brief segue into Woman in White, and then we'll come back around to our wonderful South American lore. So, who is the Woman in White? Sometimes called White Lady, which I feel maybe we're going to probably, as a culture, step away from that to describe this ghost. Because when I was looking for white lady ghost, and all I did was type in white lady, what I got were a lot of memes and not super helpful. They were definitely not supernatural at all. And it was when I switched it to lady in white or woman in white that I finally started to have success with my search terms. So, yeah, she used to be called the white lady. Now I think we're probably all going to consciously switch to woman in white to make the distinction. But
her name is not Karen, everyone.
It's not Karen. It's not. Actually, wait a minute. No, okay. No.
What is it?
The one story that I have of a real person who became a woman in white, her name is definitely not Karen. I just double checked that. Okay, so in popular medieval legend, the woman in white.
Let me see your manager.
I know, right? God, someday that's going to be the ghost. It's going to be these weird women. Oh, that'll be terrifying. Anyway.
Give it a couple generations.
Right? So in popular...
Become a legend.
Well, she'll become something, that's for sure. In popular medieval legend, a woman in white is fabled to appear both in daytime as well as nighttime in a house in which a family member is soon to die. She was thought in this time period to be a ghost of a deceased ancestor. And she was a portent of warning. Hey, someone in the family is about to join me. So say all your goodbyes, basically. The woman in white, as we kind of already said, is this female entity which appears in a white dress. She usually has long hair. She's usually very pale. And she has different behaviors from here or there, but she's usually got a tragic past. She's usually predatory or malicious or malevolent. But when specifically looking at this medieval legend of being a portent of doom, it reminded me of the Banshee or the Banshee. And Cameron, I know you had done a little bit of research on the Banshee, so I was wondering if you could... What is a Banshee? For anybody who doesn't know.
Banshee is she's kind of like a lady of the lake. She's basically a bad omen to the Irish, and she will appear, and if she appears, then bad luck will befall you. If she screams, someone near you might die.
Oh.
If you hear her twice, 3 times, the 3rd time, you're going to die.
That'd be pretty scary.
So it's when she screams and you hear it, like it's not immediately your death, but it's still really bad. Somebody's going to die. Mm-hmm. Somebody you know is going to die. The 2nd time, and now there could be a tragic event about to happen where a few people die, not even just limited to 2. 3, you're going to die. That is your call.
What is
and so
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It is often said that sometimes people will hear the scream. Maybe sometimes they'll even hear 3 screams. The only time that doesn't apply to them is if they're in a house with other people and they go in and, like, say, for instance, there's this story. They went in to go check on their father to see if they were doing okay because they knew that they were sick. They heard the scream. They woke up. They went in to check on their father because they were worried. And they saw basically, like, imagine you walked in on somebody's night terror.
Oh.
And the spirit is just hovering above them. Almost like Dementor style from Harry Potter, sucking the life out of them.
Oh.
That's what this person saw.
So the Banshee's actually taking them? Like taking their soul?
In some stories.
Wow.
It's like they're helping them across. Ooh. It's not that they were... It's that it was their time.
Oh, so they're not killing them. They're just like the what's the word? The
easing the transition.
Yeah. Okay. They're the escort, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do they look like?
It's still like a harbinger of doom, right. So you never want to see them. But it was a beautiful woman.
Oh.
Dressed all in white. Almost translucent, silky, clothing, and they were wet from head to toe. And I don't think the hair color really came into it, but I think that's the limit of what I have as far as descriptions go.
Interesting. I guess
is that it was just a beautiful woman dressed all in white, soaked in translucent white clothing.
I didn't realize. So there's a couple things there for me. One, when I think of a banshee, I think of popular culture, TV shows, movies, whatever. I think of a hag. I think of this ugly, disgusting creature with ratty brown hair who's just a terrible mess. I didn't realize that she was wet. That's very interesting. I wonder, why is she wet? Does she only appear in houses that are near bodies of water, or?
I don't think that's the case.
That's interesting.
It's just Ireland is an island, so
so
nothing's really too far from
a body of water. Yeah. Interesting. That is interesting. And it kind of, again, brings to mind that idea of water being important, that in-between transition place of that energy of water meeting land, creating a kind of, I don't know, something, a thin space, maybe. That is very interesting. Anything else about the Banshee?
Not really. Nothing had really come up off the top of my head here.
I have something. Are you really to hear this? Oh, I do. This was when we were going to do the episode of Maman Brigitte, and then you got all spooked out, and then we didn't do it. I did some research, and I was trying to figure out, where did Maman Brigitte originate? Who was her progenitor, right? So as I go back, Maman Brigitte, Saint Brigid, before Saint Brigid, the goddess Brigide, and before the goddess Brigide, she was something else, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have my notes in front of me, but she was of the Tuatha De Danann. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Maybe. But she was this goddess who had a child, and there was a war, and her only son died in the war. And she screamed and wailed in this keening cry. And she was considered to be the originator of the practice of the death wailing. And I believe it's Irish culture, but in Irish culture, they have what are called death wails. And wail, like wailing, not like the animal, but wail is in the crying. And it's amazing. And I had all of these. I don't know if I can drop them in. Hey, it's Mandy coming at you in post. I'm going to go ahead and drop those sound bites in. So it's called keening, not wailing. I got that wrong. Keening. And here is an example that I pulled from YouTube, and I will have the link in the show notes. Here we go. All right, so that was Irish death keening, and now we'll go back to the episode where I am making comparisons to other similar types of death sounds made by other cultures. But people will do, and in other cultures it's called yoiking. It's actually a shamanic practice that just independently popped up in Ireland. But you do this yoiking, and it's this really peculiar, really haunting, kind of scary as hell, wailing, weird, whistling noise that they make. And it's said to be the way that you send off the spirit. It, the energy of the cry provides the spirit enough energy to be able to leave this plane and cross over. And what's interesting in shamanic teachings, the cultures that practice this, but anyway, the yoiking, it's said to be the language of spirits. So it's not any real words, it's just feelings and emotions, and you translate it into this gobbledygook that comes out of your throat, almost like a galder. And you make these noises, and it's said to be a way to communicate with the spirits directly. Next, I will play a clip from, it's called the 3 Worlds Shamanism Podcast. It's number 3. So number 3 Worlds Shamanism Podcast. This comes from season 1, episode number 23 at 11 minutes and 4 seconds. Nicholas Breeze Wood runs that podcast, and he's wonderful. He is a wealth of knowledge. So I'm going to play that for you right now.
Just an extract from a yoik there from northern Finland. I'm afraid I don't know exactly what the yoik was about. I think it was something to do with a wedding.
So
have you ever heard of the Aztec death whistle?
Yes, I have heard of that.
Is it kind of like that?
Maybe. I think it's similar. I actually I know someone who has one, who has a physical whistle that's meant for that.
I asked for one for Christmas. They didn't want to get it to me. My D&D crew did not like the idea of me having one.
I can't imagine why.
I might have told them what I wanted to do with it, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So I just thought that was, as far as the Banshee, a little bit of interesting, I hope is interesting, extra knowledge. Again, we have these ties across cultures, these ties across beings, and these really interesting connections between very different cultural ideas and practices. And I want to say, the Banshee and the death keening, the death wailing, very much reminds me of Apache death practices. So the only reason I know this is because I worked in the trauma ICU for a long time, and we see a lot of people die. And every now and then we would have indigenous peoples who would pass away. And I was warned, oh gosh, this gentleman was Apache. When his family comes, just prepare yourself. It's going to be really noisy. And I was like, what are you talking about? They said, it's part of the culture. This is just something I learned in nursing. It's part of the culture that you have to do all your crying within the first 3 days. And you have to get it all out, because then you're not really ever allowed to cry for them again. You're not allowed to use their name again, because it will call the spirit back. So you do all of your grieving all at once in those first few days, and it sends the spirit out, and that is your moment to grieve, because after that you have to be done. And it is loud. It is extraordinary to be present for that. I'm actually getting goosebumps right now. I'm covered in goosebumps just remembering. It is the energy of it. This was before I even really started practicing energy work, but the energy of it, it's haunting. First of all, it's extraordinarily sad. I mean, it's always sad, but it's just like the pain.
And the knowledge that they have to get it all.
Yeah, they're not going to ever be able to talk about that loved one ever again. And indigenous peoples,
I've had some friends that
Apache friends. If I got that wrong, please correct us. I apologize, but this is what we were told, what I was told in the hospital working. So some of that might be wrong.
And me with some of my coworkers.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I bring it.
It could just be what they tell the outsiders, but
maybe.
I don't.
And maybe there's more to it than that. It could be. Who knows? It's not.
Probably. There's more than more than that to it. You know,
Right.
It's more than likely we didn't get the whole story.
Right.
But
And I'm not trying to pry. You know, what's private is private. That's fine. But what I was told was this. If someone wants to correct me, great. If this is, you know, whatever, it's okay. But the point is, you know, thinking about the Banshee and thinking about what's considered to be the origin of the death whales, this Brigitte character, this Brigitte entity, and then finding out that there's something similar in the Sami culture with the Yoiking, and then having personally experienced the Apache death cryings, it's all so similar, and it's so interesting that the ideas themselves kind of are similar. These cultures that are separated, just so different, so vastly, vastly different, have so many similarities. It's just really interesting to me to think about that and to see those connections. Anyway, sorry. So I don't know. I interrupted you and told you I had extra stuff. What did you think of all of that?
I don't know that you interrupted me,
Oh.
but no, yeah, I think that's so the reason why I brought up the Aztec death whistle is because I'm pretty sure they did that because it was a way to taunt their enemies.
Oh.
Because it was seen as a way to help shepherd their spirits to the other side.
Oh.
Basically, it was a death call. You're going to die now.
Because
But
I've summoned your spirit out of your body, kind of thing.
The death whistle it's almost like a form of passion. Like, you know, hey, I'm helping you.
Huh.
It's almost guaranteed you're going to die now. So let me help you.
Whoa. Oh, I see what you're saying. Ooh, that would be really creepy.
And so, I mean, never mind the sound itself is disheartening. The fact that they were typically fighting people within their own cultural realm,
Yeah.
understood what that death whistle would mean.
Yeah. That
was the real demoralizing effect that it had.
And to be honest, it is kind of a creepy sound. The whistle is weird. It's almost like a multi-tone type whistle.
Yeah, it's supposed to sound like an army of the dead crying for you.
It sounds like 2 or 3 whistles in one. It's kind of and it's weird. It's got a weird resonance to it. Like I've only heard it once. It was kind of a practice thing, and then we were like, we should never do that again. And I was like, okay, deal. But at least I got to hear it, and it was very different. It was a little bit creepy, and that was, yeah, I don't know. And having grown up, if I had been growing up in that culture, been surrounded by the warfare and known that that's what that whistle portends, I think that the ick factor, the fear factor, would have been 100 times higher. Like, I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't use those whistles lightly.
No, I imagine they don't.
Didn't.
It's crazy. All right, so moving on. So from the Banshee, I did want to talk about this woman in white, at least in some occasions, was an actual woman who died. And there are some actually really well-known women in white around the world. So I picked this one from the Czech Republic. Not going to pronounce her name very well. I apologize, Czech friends. Perchta of Rosenberg. So
Can you spell that in the Discord?
Sure.
I'm just gonna
Look her up real quick.
I'm not an official, but I do read Cyrillic. So.
Oh, you do? So the Z has a weird symbol over it, like a funny little carrot on top of it. Move. Rosenberg. Boom. So Perchta Rosenberg grew up at Rosenberg Castle. She lived in 1429 to 1476. She was the daughter of a really important Bohemian nobleman. This is all from Wikipedia, guys.
Well, from what you wrote, that's exactly right. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be interested to see the.
I don't know how you
Cyrillic
pronounce
spelling of
the
that.
Z with the weird carrot on top of it. Anyway, so Perchta married another nobleman. His name was Jan Lichtenstein, and it was a really bad marriage. Apparently, he was just a huge dick. And she would write to her dad and her brothers about what a dick he was and how terrible life was. And apparently, quote unquote, they were colorful descriptions of her unhappy family life and the bad treatment she received from Jan. She sent many, many, many letters. 32 of them were actually passed down. They still exist somewhere. The legend has it that as he was dying, he suddenly decided he needed forgiveness. And I really hate it when people do this shit. They start to feel guilty, and so they task the other person who was tortured their whole life with forgiveness. Like, that's so unfair. That's so unfair. And it's only not because he was actually sorry, I'm guessing, usually. It's because he's afraid to go to hell. So he wants her to forgive him, right? So he's like, hey, forgive me. I'm so sorry I treated you this way. And she was like, fuck you, dude. Hell no. And he was like, well, then I curse you. And he died. And so he was like, you're cursed forever. Haha, I didn't actually mean it. I don't actually care about you. And he
I don't
died.
give a shit about you.
Yeah, I just needed you to forgive me, and you didn't. So after she died, because of this curse, she returned as a ghost to her family holdings. And she can be seen in multiple places, but anywhere that the family had owned. And I cannot pronounce these places. I'm so sorry. But Rosenberg, Český Krumlov, Jindřichův, Hradec, Trebon, and Telč. And she's also included in some of the ancient Bohemian legends. I didn't realize that Bohemian was like a culture outside of like modern Bohemian. I didn't realize that. But anyway, so it's just interesting that this, and sad, I feel really bad for her, that this woman she was a real live actual woman who was turned into this entity after she died. Against her will, it would seem. So it kind of makes me wonder how many of these ladies in white were actually real people, you know? And it's not exactly like these are unique stories. This is the sort of stuff that happens to women all around the world all the time, even today. So from our Czech Republic lady in white, Perchta, I move on to La Sayona. La Sayona is from Venezuela, and she is a vengeful spirit of a woman who shows up only to men who have love affairs outside of their marriages. So again, just like we talked about in the beginning, this is like a cautionary tale for men. So Sayona, the name actually refers to the clothing she wears, which is a long white dress similar to a medieval undergarment. Again, a lady in white. And according to the mythology, she appears, she asks for a ride, and after a while, when the victim tries to see her face, he notices that she instead has a skull with horrible, horrible teeth. Now, in the original telling, it says that the first La Sayona was a woman named Casilda. She lived in a small town in the plains of Venezuela and was the most beautiful girl there. She was married to a man who was caring and loving and wonderful, and she and her husband had a baby boy. Well, one day she was swimming naked in a nearby river, and a villager saw her, and after that, he would start stalking her. So he was following her everywhere she went, and he'd watch her bathe in the river. One day she saw him and she said, leave me alone. And he ignored her and said, hey, I'm only here to warn you. Your husband is actually having an affair with your mom. And she ran home. She found her husband asleep with their baby and in a burning rage set fire to the house and killed them both. Villagers apparently could hear them screaming. So then she ran to her mom's house and found her mom on the patio and attacked her with a machete, striking her in the stomach. As mom bled out, she cursed Casilda, saying, from then on, you're going to have to avenge all women by killing all their unfaithful husbands. So from that day forward, Casilda became La Sayona. So first of all, I just want to talk about the folly here. She didn't even catch her husband with anyone. He was literally sleeping with the baby who did nothing wrong. A stalker who only had everything to gain if he could split up their marriage told her this thing. She just went into a total nutjob rage over a rumor from a dude who was a peeping Tom and was stalking her. I don't actually get this one at all. And I hate being judgmental, but I'm judging her here. I feel like she sort of deserves this curse. Mm-hmm. Like, that was stupid. She killed 3 people for literally no reason.
Do we think maybe there's something lost in translation there?
It's possible.
I kind of feel like there must be, because that's no culture would see that as, yes, of course, this is why.
Yeah, I mean, of course that's why she's cursed. Like, I could see that, but I don't understand her behavior. I don't understand that at all. That's craziness.
And let's draw back a little bit here. What does a lady in white mean? Why do you get married and you're wearing white?
Virginity, right?
It's
the purity.
Virginity, maiden. It's about innocence.
Mm-hmm.
It's about not being in the wrong. So the lady in white stalking these men is because she was good, but something bad happened to her.
She was the innocent one. I see. That's such a cool connection. Wow, and in this case, that doesn't really fit, does it? Because she wasn't the innocent one. Not by this telling. That's... this is interesting. In another version of the story, she appears to men who are working in the jungle, and she manifests to her victims when they're talking to workmates about sex or thinking about women they left behind in their hometown. She'll appear to these men assuming the likeness of a very beautiful woman or even sometimes a loved one, and she lures them into the forest so she can reveal her animal-like features and eat them, mangle them, or leave their wretched bodies for their companions to find.
If she was cursed and she has to have the horse face, a twisted animal, kind of like she's a donkey, like she's an idiot, that would make sense for this story. She responded purely on her emotions. She went ahead and she killed her family for essentially no reason. She was playing the woman in white in this situation, and now she must actually enact revenge against those that actually do what she
pretended was happening, or
yes,
for whatever reason she believed was happening.
Exactly. So like that might make sense.
And that's interesting you say that.
It's a twist.
Yeah.
On the lady in white.
This is your punishment now because you're so concerned with unfaithful husbands. Let you be concerned even after your death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Just so we can revisit this, La Sayona refers to the cloth, but she's said to be, she looks like a very beautiful woman, but her face is a skull with horrible teeth, which is interesting. Is she some other version of La Siguanaba, the horse-faced woman? She could be. That's a really interesting connection there. We'll see. So, similar in behavior to La Patasola and La Sayona is La Matlacihua. Matlacihua is a phantasm. She's a beautiful and svelte woman dressed all in white. She's often called the White Lady or sometimes the Bride. She usually appears at night with seductive songs, like La Llorona, and an irresistible beauty. She'll lure men of bad conduct into the forest, scaring them half to death. Although she's not described as being a creature who sucks the blood of her victims, she is supposedly... the White Lady supposedly deterred men from seeking amorous relations in the woods, jungles, and mountain ranges. And there's like 4 different versions of what she is. La Matlacihua is actually a couple, a man and a woman who are blonde and attractive and chain smoke. That's one version. In another version, it's a creature that can actually transform itself either into the version of a child or a giant, and their destiny is to pervert and hurt its victims. In another one, it's the form of a beautiful woman, which it takes in order to seduce men. And lastly, she's a one-footed woman, and she leaves a really distinctive trail behind when she's dragging her victim away. But most of the modern accounts favor this lady in white version of the story. Okay, well, we're going to call it a day from here. We are trying really hard to keep to our maximum of 1 hour per episode rule. So join us next time as we continue our exploration of La Matlacihua and all of her lady friends and in our Spirit Ladies of the Land Part 2. Thank you so much. And this has been another episode of The Wandering Crow.